Hey everyone, and welcome back to my bi-yearly video review program. On today's episode, we aren't even looking at a video game. Instead, I want to talk about a device that I've been getting a lot of use out of recently, the Tensun video converter. Those of you who stream using the Elgato Game Capture HD may have run into a handful of problem consoles, the two big ones in my experience being the Nintendo 64 and the Sega Saturn. For some reason, the signal from these consoles can reach the Elgato, but not the TV, rendering the capture card nearly useless on these systems. That's where the Tensun video converter comes into play, allowing you to stream these problem consoles as well as having some potential benefits for certain other systems in addition to greater overall convenience. The converter comes in the form of a rather compact black box running on 5 volts of DC power. It accepts Composite and S-video input and can output the signal it receives at 480, 720, or 1080p over HDMI. You can also output the audio separately through a 3.5mm jack, an option that's specifically useful for those playing on a computer monitor without built-in speakers. It should be noted that this is not an upscaler, so it isn't a replacement for a FrameMeister if you're looking to get ultra-crisp pixels from your machine. It is only useful in boosting the signal so that it's more compatible with modern TVs over HDMI. That being said, there is a potential advantage for those looking for improved visual fidelity. If you're like me and your TV doesn't natively support S-video, this is a cheap way to get greatly improved video quality out of consoles like the GameCube, where doing that is notoriously expensive. Overall, I really like the Tensun converter. In addition to the previously listed benefits, it's more convenient for me to use HDMI exclusively as input for the Elgato. It also doesn't seem to exhibit the overt screen tearing that some other similar devices have. That being said, there are a few, possibly deal-breaking cons to consider. For starters, the converter stretches the image on some consoles where a 4:3 aspect ratio is intended. This can be corrected in the streaming software easily enough, however, manually changing the TV's aspect ratio is cumbersome and usually not worth the investment, especially if you play a lot of modern consoles as well, so this results in a non-optimal play experience for purists. Another problem is with the color saturation. As you can see from these two screens from Smash Bros. Melee, the Tensun produces an image that is considerably duller. Mario's bright red hat takes on a tone much more reminiscent of his appearance in Smash Bros. Brawl. Again, this can be corrected to a point within the streaming software, but I'd be lying if I said I didn't find it somewhat ugly in comparison to the intended look. Also, on the note of color, Sega Genesis fans most likely will be disappointed if they're hoping to use the console's composite output with the converter. For reasons unknown, it produces a black and white image. Luckily, the Elgato can handle the Genesis signal rather well, but if you wanted a streamlined HDMI-only approach to streaming, you may want to invest in an upscaler or Analog's Mega SG. Lastly are the output options. As far as I can tell, there is no immediately apparent benefit for outputting at higher resolutions. There is seemingly a downside though. Although I cannot test this scientifically, the 1080p output option feels considerably more laggy than the 480p option, and provides no extra clarity. And since my TV can accept the 480 signal over HDMI no problem, the usefulness of the other options isn't at all clear. Strangely enough, there does appear to be a benefit for outputting at 480p though. As you can tell from these screens from Mario 64, 480p appears much more vibrant and closer to the intended look than the 720 and 1080p options. All in all, I do really like this device. Previously, my method for getting around my TV's stubbornness with the N64 was to pass the signal through a DVD recorder that is many times bigger and clunkier to work with. The unit's build quality is nice, and the inclusion of S-video puts it a step above other similar converters you might find at Walmart, for example. Though it has a handful of drawbacks, both large and small, I was satisfied with my purchase and would overall recommend it to any would-be streamer. This has been Mike the Gamer Guy. Thanks for watching.